Welcome in to another episode of the Mental Health Hour.
Mm.
Live here on Twitch every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. UK. Uh, and then, of course, we do the replays over on YouTube and all the major podcasting networks,
Mm-hmm.
which I think I'm actually behind on. That's good. That gives me something to do every now and again. I like to catch up on that. I gotta go through and edit down, I think, two or three of them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, of course, life is busy. Even with the holidays over, it seems as though nothing has slowed down.
Oh God, no.
Um, I kind of always liked after the holidays ended. It seems like life did kind of slow down for a little bit. You could regain your composure, but we are still out and about. Tony D and Jeremy Stoltz, good to see you. Good to see both of you. There's Tony and our good friend Jeremy. I have I haven't been awake for Jeremy's drawing here as of late, but I'll have to pop in. I should be up tonight as Casey works late. So hopefully I'll catch you tonight, Jeremy. Um, TJ, good to see you as well. And everybody, as previously mentioned, um, glad you can all be here for tonight's episode.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight we're talking about a new topic to me. Gemma, I assume this is new to you.
Um, I've
It,
heard little bits about it. I know there was a lot about it um,
um,
surrounding a specific trial and things, but yeah,
yes, the famous trial of 22,
yeah.
Johnny Depp and Amber, whoever. Um,
Amber,
I don't remember her name. Uh,
depending on who you ask, there's a variation.
um, so histrionic. I was joking earlier when we talked about doing this episode. I was talking with my wife Casey, and I was like, I don't even know how to say this. Histrionic personality disorder. Um, Michael Joseph Murray in the house. Good evening to you. Um, Histrionic personality disorder. What this is, or we're going to get into what it is. We're going to get into some uh, other clusters of personality disorders. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
we'll run some slides. We'll run a short video. Um, and we'll just kind of have a chat about it and talk about it like we always do. Getting back into some of our topical episodes now that we're back on a weekly schedule after the holidays.
Yeah,
Last week we just did a touch base episode to get back into the swing of things, back into the groove. Um, so
I'll post
tonight,
the schedule later on because we've got 3 months worth. I think. Did you do 3 months worth lined up? So I'll post the schedule in the next day or two so that everybody can see what's coming up.
yes, indeed. Um, I did come up with from some of the list we still had,
Mm-hmm.
which looking at it, I can't remember. I have to look at the YouTube channel to see. There was two of them on there. I couldn't remember if we. I know we had talked about doing. I don't know if we.
Yeah, there was some more that you wanted to go further in depth with because
Yes,
it was such a
exactly.
vast topic. You said it needed more than an hour.
Exactly. So
Uh,
I don't want to strike them off the list yet, but
yeah, there's some more to add in there as well because we've had some more requests over the past few weeks, so I need to add them in there.
yes. Um. So well, first I guess let's check in with Gemma as we do. See how she's doing. How was the week? How's everything?
Um, Aside from having a 9-year-old that thinks he's 16, it's going. It's going.
It's going.
Yeah, it's definitely going.
Um, yeah, 9-year-old. I can't even imagine yet. But
Can
let's.
we just skip
I don't.
teenage years? Because, like,
I don't
yeah,
want to
I'm
get
not.
too far ahead. I already think Penelope's growing up too fast. She'll be
Yeah,
9 months in a couple days. So,
I went to meet my niece yesterday. She's a week old today.
and how was
So
that?
made me want another baby until I looked at Thomas and realized they grow up and then thought, fuck that.
Yep, yep. Espresso, good to see you. Welcome on in. Um, okay. Well, let's get into tonight's topic: histrionic personality disorder. Gemma, can you start us off with a bit of a brief overview, and then we'll
Um,
just go right into the video after that. And
yeah, so a really quick um, like blurb about it. It's to be histrionic personality disorder is usually to define somebody that has attention seeking behavior, constantly needing the approval of others, lots of inappropriate behavior, needs to be the center of attention, very over the top with everything. Um, the like you can have one of those things and it wouldn't be histrionic personality disorder. It comes as a whole package. And as I say, this particular diagnosis came to light quite a lot in the light of the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard case, because apparently she had been diagnosed with that.
Amber Heard.
Yes, or Amber Turd, depending on who you speak to.
Amber
But
Heard. Jim
yeah,
in Chicagoland, thanks for the 13 months.
but I think that's why it was requested, because there'd been so much in the media about it that I think whoever it was requested actually by 3 people. So,
Excellent.
well, 3 separate requests. Um,
And Ray says, sounds like me in elementary school.
but yeah, like there's a lot to it, and as we'll see, there's different like clusters of personality disorders and stuff. So that's why we've got the video on the slides, so we can delve a bit more into it.
Excellent.
But yeah, I think
Yeah,
the video would be a good place to start, maybe.
absolutely. Um, before we roll it, I was doing just a little reading on it, and it appears like this. So, from what I've read, this got its formal introduction into um, the DSM, which is the mental health uh, uh, disorder Bible, basically. Um, in 1968, I think it said. I'd have to fact check myself on that, but I'm pretty sure it was 1968. So it's been a thing for a while. However, like Gemma was saying, it's just recently come into light, and we're hearing more about it, which is why we wanted to do this one. It was a viewer request, and
Yeah, there was
we wanted,
actually quite a few celebrities that had been diagnosed with it. I was looking it up.
yeah,
There've been quite a few that
we
apparently have been
we
diagnosed with
love doing these types of episodes because it help we get to learn just as much as the chat and those listening replay or on the podcast. Um, I like doing research on these types of topics. This is why I like doing the show. Um, but anywho, let's run. Oh, I wanted to say that it couples or it goes kind of hand in hand with the narcissistic personality disorder. Um, from what I was reading briefly, uh, it seems to um, parallel that pretty well. There are differences, but some were saying that this diagnosis should just be foregone. This shouldn't actually be a diagnosis, and it should just all couple into narcissistic personality disorder. That being said, that was just a little bit from my research prior to the show. But let's run this video quick, and we'll all get a little overview on it. Then we'll go into some slides with Gemma, and then we'll just discuss and see what else comes to light. If at any time, chat, during the video, you see, hear, think anything about it, if something rings a bell, you want to share anything, throw it in the comments and we'll talk about it after the video. All right, let's run the show.
So we're going to talk a little bit histrionic personality disorder today. And if you have ever come into contact with somebody who has this disorder, you never forget the interaction. These are the people that are frequently labeled as divas or attention seekers or drama kings or queens, and they thrive on being the center of attention, and in fact will frequently try to pull people into their orbit with them. So a person with histrionic personality disorder will exhibit rapidly shifting and particularly intense seeming emotional states. But what you'll find over time with being in the presence of someone like this is the emotional reactions are often very out of proportion for the situation at hand. And they shift so quickly as to be really clear that it's a shallow and superficial expression of emotion as opposed to a real genuine feeling of emotion. People who are histrionic also really value their physical appearance as a tool that they can use to both manipulate people as well as to continue to be the center of attention. And with this, they're often inappropriately seductive or flirtatious in situations where other people would know that this was an okay or acceptable behavior. There's a lack of a filter in terms of when behavior is appropriate or inappropriate, and this is largely due to the driving force of wanting to be the center of attention. So that trumps all other social norms around how to behave and act. In terms of interpersonal relationships, someone who has histrionic personality disorder will frequently be swayed very easily by the opinions of others. And also, they tend to have a tendency to believe that their attachments to others are more strong than they really are. So they may meet somebody and within a couple of days be talking about how this person is their best friend and talking about that person's philosophy or values as if it was their own. It's almost like they're a chameleon in a way, and they'll adapt to whoever it is that they're trying to get close to at the particular moment. A person who is histrionic will have a communication style that's really classified as style over substance. So they will say a lot in a very dramatic way, but when you really try to pin down the point or the message inherent in what they're saying, it can be very difficult to really find something of substance in there. They can have a very theatrical, overly dramatic way of presenting themselves. Again, it all goes back to this central driving force of wanting to be the center of attention. So more women than men have historically been diagnosed with histrionic personality disorder, but there's some question as to whether this has to do with social norms that allow women to express some of these traits in a more open way than men have historically been able to do. So it remains to be seen over the next several years as our society continues to evolve, whether this trend of more women than men will continue or whether it might shift and become more of a balanced picture. In terms of treatment for histrionic personality disorder, it's similar to any other personality disorder in that it is possible and certainly recommended, but it may not be easy or quick. So it's a process to really reevaluate your whole way of dealing with the world and interacting with others. But I think it's definitely worthwhile to seek out the help if somebody's really struggling with this. If this video was helpful or interesting to you, please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we will be providing a number of videos on a variety of mental health topics. And if you'd like to learn more about online counseling, please click the link to betterhelp.com below.
Okay. There's a brief overview from a professional, and as Naomi has highlighted in the chat, we will have all the slides tonight and video on the Discord. So please jump in there if you're not already a part of it. And I also include the links. I'm gonna have to get this one because Gemma found this video. So if you can send me,
I've got it. I'll drop it in there.
Yeah, I put it in the description of the YouTube video, and the podcast descriptions for each individual episode. I put the credits in there to make sure credit is given to the correct folks. This one being at betterhelp.com.
Yeah.
But I do like to put their YouTube channel specifically in there, since we're on YouTube, and we can just send you quickly over to them as well for more informative videos on different mental health topics. Psych to Go is another good one that we use. Yeah, so let's get into it a bit. Jim coming in with, wow, I've encountered those types of people recently. Yeah, it's incredible to see these, especially these disorders or diagnoses that we're not extremely familiar with, or maybe not even heard of, come to light. When you hear about it, you can put a person to it. Like we all know somebody that struggles with different things in our social groups. And that's perfectly fine. I struggle myself with certain things, So there's not one person on this earth that's perfect, and we all have something going on.
I've got a list here when we've gone through the different types of personality disorders and categories. I will give a few of them out because it's quite, I think, fascinating to see the types of disorders and things that there are, and like connect them with, I guess, celebrities and well-known people. Because when I was looking into this a little bit more, I found this list and I'm like, wow, I found it quite fascinating. So we'll go through it a bit more.
Sure.
And then I'll share the list that I have, because I think it's quite good to see what each one entails, and then maybe connect it to a person that I think most people will be familiar with.
So some A-list celebrities have either been diagnosed or
and it's a reputable site, so yes, I'm believing of it.
Personality disorders. Like I said, nobody's perfect on this planet.
No.
We all have something that we struggle with. So it's nice to have diagnoses for each individual. I hate to keep calling them disorders and what have you, but that's what they are called. Just because, you're occasionally wanting to be the center of attention doesn't necessarily obviously mean you have a disorder. But I think we can see some folks either celebrities or maybe somebody we know at the office or wherever, uh, that display this on a daily basis. This one in particular being histrionic personality disorder, also known as something shit. You know, I'll, I'll have to look that up while we're going to the slides.
Mhm.
And maybe it'll be mentioned because, like I said, there are different clusters as I'm learning, and Gemma's going to take us through that, like she was just talking about. So I
Yeah.
guess we can go right on into that. And the first slide, I believe, does have cluster A, B, and C listed. So
Yeah.
Gemma, if you wouldn't mind taking it away.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So these are the ways that they cluster the different types of personality disorders. So cluster A is categorized as odd thinking and eccentric behavior. So paranoid personality disorder, schizoid personality disorder, and schizotypial personality disorder. I should have checked this before I sent you it. Cluster B, dramatic and erratic behavior. So antisocial personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, and narcissistic personality disorder. And then cluster C is severe anxiety and fear. So avoidant personality disorder, dependent personality disorder, put my teeth back in, and obsessive compulsive disorder. Some of those we've discussed in previous broadcasts with guests
Right.
and other people as well, and some of them we haven't covered quite as much. Okay, and then the
So,
next one.
real quick before you do,
Mm-hmm.
the histrionic, obviously, you see, it falls under cluster B.
Mm-hmm.
And it says dramatic or erratic behavior. That was what I was trying to think of. I just found it. It's also known as dramatic personality disorder. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I just wanted to tie up that loose end that I had started. And Joker, Uncle Rick, Steve, who else did I see come in? Welcome, guys. It's good to see you in the chat. Throw in some good comments and um, uh, join in on the discussion. But also, as you can see right under histrionic personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder is there. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what I was saying before we got going. Like some people think that histrionic should just be deleted and it
Yeah.
should all fall into narcissistic.
They're very similar, but they do have some slight differences for sure. And this is why we can look into this now.
Mhm.
So, antisocial personality disorder. So, it's to defy authority, break the rules, lack remorse, and violent or aggressive. Most of that sounds like kids. Borderline personality disorder, low self esteem that translates into using others for self validation, paranoid about others' opinions, making threats, and rocky relationship history. Histrionic personality disorder, strong need to be the center of attention, sexually provocative, make threats, and form attachments too quickly. And then the narcissistic personality disorder, superficial charm, and usually lacks emotional empathy, unable to accept criticism and have a need for admiration, and they may exploit others.
All right, so a good quick breakdown on the four of the categories for cluster B there, and then we'll move forward, and we might come back to this just to chat.
Yep. Okay, so again, this one is the cluster B personality disorders, as we're discussing this more today. So the antisocial personality disorder, disregard for rules, disregard for the rights of others, deceitfulness, manipulation, and aggressiveness. borderline personality disorder, so intense emotions, fears of abandonment, unstable relationships, and identity issues. Histrionic personality disorder, dramatic behavior, inappropriately sexual or provocative, and need to be the center of attention. And then narcissistic personality disorder, feeling superior or special, lack of empathy, need for admiration, exploiting others, and sensitive to rejection.
Excellent.
I think that because so many of them have very there's a lots of things that are quite similar between them, but this is how they would, I guess, distinguish between which one's which, because each one in the clusters have like crossovers, I think.
Yeah.
So this is like a way of determining which one's which.
Yeah, because I mean, couldn't you? I mean, we could concede to say that dramatic behavior and the need to be the center of attention is also traits of narcissistic personality disorder. However, I don't know that inappropriately sexual or provocative does fall under that. So, and that's something that comes up on the sexual inappropriateness and provocation shows up on all of the different things that I've been looking at. It's even here on this website that I've pulled up myself.
Yeah.
So we'll come back and talk about cluster B more again, but moving forward.
Yeah. So this breaks down more of the symptoms of histrionic personality disorder, as that's what the topic is for today. So persistently seeking attention from others, theatrical behavior with over-dramatized emotions, poor tolerance for frustration, highly sensitive to disapproval or criticism, attracting attention through physical appearance, provocative dressing, and sexuality, rapidly changing and shallow emotions, suggestible, overly trusting, and easily swayed, excessively focused on physical appearance, sudden mood swings, and feeling discomfort when they fail to attract expected attention.
And just to reiterate from what I had personally, or from what I had said previously, a lot of these symptoms that you're seeing uh, are character traits that we all can be guilty of at from time to time. Seeking attention from others, we all certainly do that. Um, uh, Being sensitive to criticism or disapproval of any kind, we're all guilty. I think it's safe to say. The key factors here are the terms like at the beginning, persistently or highly sensitive, consistently, excessively, uh, theatrical behavior, or over dramatized. You know, these are what we want to look at. So we're not exactly saying if you hit all 10 of these that you have histrionic personality disorder. Yeah. The important thing is to remember that these are symptoms that you're displaying on a near or a regular and constant basis, and it's over the top.
Excessively, constantly.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to feel like they've failed or upset someone, but there's a
Sure.
difference
So
between
we
that
can,
and
we can all
excessive.
raise our hands when we say sudden mood swings. Changing emotions, poor tolerance for frustration. I mean, these are things that are normal everyday reactions to some certain uh, events. It's the adjectives before describing how persistent and how highly and extreme that these symptoms present for these folks,
hmm
and then some more symptoms.
Yeah. So again, constant approval seeking, the need to be center of attention, overly self-centered, concerned about appearance, uses appearance to gain attention, inappropriate behavior, seductive manner of dress, shallow or untrue to others, outside outsized displays of dramatics, gullible and easily influenced.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Um,
And then now that we have gone through those, if you want me to give you the list, you might be surprised with some of them.
so which
So, okay.
we'll get back to
Yeah,
this.
some of them that I'm not overly familiar with. So, Anna Nicole Smith apparently has histrionic personality disorder.
I could see that.
Angelina Jolie, borderline personality disorder. Megan Fox has borderline personality and bouts of schizophrenia. Adolf Hitler, paranoid personality disorder and narcissistic personality disorder.
Absolutely.
Marilyn Monroe has borderline personality disorder. Steve Jobs, obsessive compulsive personality disorder. David Beckham, dependent personality disorder. And then on this one, we have people that have a diagnosis of histrionic personality disorder: Megan Fox, Jessica Simpson, Kim Kardashian, Miley Cyrus, and Kanye West. So there you
Kim
go.
Kardashian and Kanye West.
Yes, that would make a yes. I can
Uh,
see where we've had lots of things in the news.
Ace the Grim Reaper, good to see you. Thanks for
Mm.
popping in. Um, that's fascinating.
hmm
The two of them have been diagnosed with histrionic personality disorder, but it makes complete sense.
hmm
Um,
I think once you see the symptoms and the things, and then you know, you're like, oh yeah, you know.
yeah, I would say
Some of them you only have to look at their Twitter feed to see a
in
lot of these.
in the light of it, I would say uh, um, Kanye may defeat Kim in the uh,
Oh
how
yeah,
it's displayed. He's very
there were some political leaders as well, but I didn't want to get political, so I omitted those.
oh yeah. Oh, I'm sure Trump's on the list somewhere for something. Yeah, there.
Yes, that one did make an appearance. I'll just say that you can decide which one you think he came under.
um, yeah, I knew. It all stemmed, or it all started with the video when we were watching the video. Towards the beginning was talking about how it trumped something or another, how this disorder trumped something or another, and I was like, Trump, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
I
mean, yeah,
figured his
he
name
made
would
the
pop up
list.
in the broadcast. But I
hmm
mean, to be fair, he does like things a certain way, and he's very vocal about it. And he's a celebrity just as much as the other names we've thrown out there. So, political affiliations aside, I think we could see uh, some sense in. I don't know much about Justin Trudeau. What was he,
Trudeau,
Prime Minister of Canada?
Canada. Yeah, it's actually surprising because I did find a list. Obviously, I didn't want to get political or anything, but
Sure.
there is a surprising number of political leaders on that list. Like, I think you could just about cover every single country and have at least one of them on there.
Well, I mean,
But
even
then,
Adolf Hitler made the list.
yeah, I'm gonna say like, yeah, I had to say that, but we all knew that. But obviously I didn't want to start getting political and having people
And,
messages and
we
say,
don't have to. We definitely don't have to take sides on politics and what have you to discuss the fact that yes, political leaders, you almost have to have some sort of, maybe not disorder, but you have to have a big ego
oh,
to
yeah.
run for an office this high. Uh, I wouldn't want the job, but
Oh,
I don't have. Uh, I guess I don't have the ego for it,
hmm
or to think that I could run a country for God's sakes. I mean, I think we all joke and say, "Hell, I could do a better job than that son of a bitch." But you know, uh, when it comes down to brass tacks, could we really? Um, we got Jim in Chicagoland here. That guy's got a voice made for giving State of the Union addresses and what have you. Um, Obama was very good at the talking aspect of his, like when he delivered a speech, whether you like or hate the guy, he just has this drawl. Like he's a good public speaker, very good public speaker. Um, but yeah, anywho, they they you should run. Uncle Rick says that Tim should run. I or maybe he meant Jim. But anywho, uh, let's get back on the rails. I wanted to go back real quick to this slide because we talk and we have an episode. It's not on the list yet, but we're definitely going to do a borderline personality disorder episode. Um, the low self esteem, paranoid about others' opinions, um, getting threatening towards others, and rocky relationship history. I'm not sure how that quite fits in. Perhaps because they have a way of focusing on one type of individual, maybe, or that's not like the healthiest for them. I'm not sure. I'd have to look more into that. Um,
I think a lot of it's to do with the paranoia as well, and self needing the validation constantly.
mhm.
Yeah, there's lots of things that comes down to that. Did
Mail
we?
driver, good to see you. Glad you could join us. Glad you could pop in. Um, Tonight we're talking about histrionic personality disorder, or the cluster B personality disorder, as we're learning. Um, Falls under the same here as you see on your screen. Um, and for those listening to the replay or the podcast on any of the major podcasting networks or websites, Cluster B, once again, consists of antisocial personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, tonight's topic, which is histrionic personality disorder. And of
Mhm.
course, Cluster B is rounded out with narcissistic personality disorder, which we
Yeah.
have covered on a previous episode. Um, to kind of jump back towards that episode of narcissistic personality disorder, these are the superficial charm and usually lacks emotional empathy, unable to accept criticism, and they may exploit others. Uh,
Mhm.
Need for constant admiration. Everybody knows a narcissist,
Oh
whether you
yeah.
are one and don't admit it, whether you are one and do admit it.
I don't think an actual narcissist is going to admit that they're a narcissist, though, to be
Some
fair.
of them do. Some of them are quite proud of it. Um, but that's another one that's come to light more recently than it's been around. Narcissism has been around and a
Mhm.
word for ages. But as the mental health field and everything grows, we're hearing a lot more about these. And they're becoming buzzwords. I haven't heard a damn thing about histrionic personality disorder until we started prepping this episode, and we're learning together tonight some of the ins and outs. Some people now here, this might be an unpopular opinion, but we address everybody. So we'll get in briefly to some people might, and it did mention it on the website I was reading. Some people think that these types of disorders are just, or diagnosis, getting these diagnoses are just excuses for poor behavior. Um, and to which I say, and I'll get Gemma's opinion on that here shortly. Uh, I don't fully agree with that. Like, I mean, I understand what some folks are thinking when they say, bullshit, you're just an asshole," and now now you have a diagnosis for it. Um, you know, that to put it quite simply, when you're operating, and I'll pull this slide back up, we talked about it, when you're displaying these symptoms and it's persistent, consistent, and extreme, there is a definite disorder going on there. There's a diagnosable disorder happening. And that's why these diagnoses are coming about. And we're learning more about these things, because would you say that consistently portraying these character traits or symptoms, as they're referred to here, is normal, rational behavior?
Oh no, not to that extent, no. I mean,
Right.
everyone's gonna get frustrated at times or show different emotions and different mood swings, and sometimes have a bout where they don't feel very attractive or get upset, but not to the extent where this is talking about, where it's constant.
Yeah.
Because, like, when it is constant, persistent, and excessive, yeah, that's not normal. There's something definitely going on there.
Yeah. That's why I tend to disagree with those that, you can certainly see what they're talking about. Like, some of these folks now, when we didn't really have a word for it, it was quite simple to say, "Hey, Kanye West is acting like an asshole."
I mean, some people just are assholes anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But to know that he actually, there may be something going on in his brain that is disorderly, to use the term, uh, puts it into another light, puts it into another. We can see another side of it, maybe, and that way we can maybe understand more. What do you think, Gemma?
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially if there's something that you can, like, if someone's diagnosed with something and maybe there's something that can be done to help. Like, I don't see what with some of this, there isn't any magic pill that's going to take it away, unfortunately. And yeah, some people are just assholes. That's not a diagnosable thing. They just are an arsehole. But yeah, there's something that can be diagnosed that helps to understand them, I guess, a bit better. At least then you can, I don't know, I think more with, there's not a medication that's going to make it better, but maybe with the correct form of therapy, it can, I don't think it's ever going to go away, but I think maybe it can come maybe a bit less, maybe not quite as frequent.
Absolutely.
But it would be like constant therapy. No, I don't think that's the sort of thing that you could go to therapy for a couple of months or whatever and it'll just go away and that's it, it's done. I think that it's going to be potentially a lifelong thing that you're going to have to keep up with.
Yeah.
Things like that, because
As most of these topics that we discuss on here are.
I mean, some of
Eric
them
J
could be,
Gaming in the house. Oh,
yeah. Some of them could be like depends on which. Some of them could be down to learned behaviors, the way that they've been, the people they've been around, stuff like that. That's also going to cause an influence on that person, I guess.
uh-huh.
But not to the, I wouldn't have thought to the extent of them all, because I know, just a little example, I know that I am personally very insecure because of things that I've been around, things that have happened, but I've never been diagnosed with any of those things that we've discussed tonight because of it, but I don't fit the other traits.
Yeah.
But I mean, just because you've got some of them doesn't mean you have that. It needs to be diagnosed by a medical professional or definitely a mental health professional generally. But you can have some of those traits and not actually have one of these things. But the key is usually massively excessive and way more than one or two of them.
Over the top
Yeah.
and consistent.
Hmm.
That's another big part.
I know a lot of I'll post it in the Discord. There was an interesting article that I read about how a lot of political leaders, like we were saying before, a lot of them come under the narcissistic personality disorder trait, and how it was saying that a lot of, let me get the exact term up if I can find it, if it's still got it open. Psychology study indicates that narcissists are more involved in politics than the rest. And then it goes on about that there's a lot of narcissists, people with narcissistic personality disorder that are in political roles
Yeah.
than anything else. Because I think a lot of what narcissists want is the power and control. And I think that's what drives them a lot of the time, which is why they want roles that are up there, like with the rest.
And Nail Driver asks, I wonder how much or how many of these could be affected by early programming. Being raised from an early age. I mean, if you're raised by a narcissist, chances are it's in your cards. These
Oh, completely the other way, because
without putting my foot in my mouth, and let's throw the disclaimer out there again. Gemma and I are not medical professionals. We just share our experience, strength, and hope. And on this particular topic and some of these other ones, like borderline personality disorder, we can't necessarily relate as we don't have the diagnosis. However, we can be we can provide opinions all day. This is not our medical advice. But so I don't want to stick my foot in my mouth, but I don't believe these are hereditary or genetic. I think it does fall a heavy dose on learned behavior.
yeah,
So as Nail Driver's pointing out here, early programming and how you're raised, um, these are learned behaviors.
it can be the complete opposite as well, because I don't want to go like too deep into it. However, through personal experience and my own experience having counseling and things in the past, some have said that, without naming anyone specifically, some of my family members would fall on in those categories. I haven't been diagnosed, but I think having been raised by somebody that has got those, it's made me at the other end of the scale, where I I think I have definitely have self-esteem issues, struggling to believe that there's anything right, that sort of thing, because having been told for many years that this is wrong, that is wrong, being made to feel like less than the shit on the shoe sometimes, basically, to be
Yeah.
blunt, that I have been brought up to feel like that. And like what, I'm 39, and to have 39 years worth of being told that I'm worthless and that I'm shit on the shoe and all that, it really does take some breaking out of and believing that actually, no, that's not true. So it can have seriously damning consequences as well without raising another narc or whatever. It can seriously damage the people in their care.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I speak for everyone here where when I say there's no way in hell that you're worthless. Uh, the amount of work you put into this show does not go unnoticed, and the amount of experience that you bring to this show as well certainly helps a lot of folks. Um, and that's what it's all about here. That's what we're trying to do. Like we said, we're not medical professionals by any means. We want to talk about these things, and we want to get the conversations going. And whether we know very personally about, like for myself, substance abuse, that's very much me. Um, that's very much a part of me. I'm an alcoholic, and I own that now. That I understand what the hell it is,
Mm-hmm.
um, uh, and what's going on with me. Um, and for you, like body dysmorphia is something that you are um, spun up on at being a part of you.
Oh
Fat
yeah,
guy
a
out
lot of
west.
that stems to my upbringing. I really do, because I'd been pretty much brought up to think I was nothing. So a lot of what I have, I do think, has stemmed from that, because it's just been one thing after another where nothing's ever good enough,
Sure.
nothing's ever been right, and then it's just other things that I think you pick up, because I'd been taught. Oh God, my thing went onto screensaver then. I'd been taught that I wasn't good enough, so that's how I was. That's how my brain's wired now.
Fat guy out west says it's hard to break the generational curses that are based down to us from past generations. The exception is the person that breaks free from the behavior. And that's a great quote. And for those of you that aren't aware or don't know, Fat Guy Out West is Steve, and he is the brother of Blaine Beardo. If you do catch the Beardo Weirdo show here on Twitch, he regularly is in the chat there and has been on the show as well. So yes, that is Blaine's brother. Glad to have you here. Good to see you. We're just a recovering drunk. Yes, him and I had a conversation about alcoholism on the Beardo Weirdo show one night. We wound up on screen together, and I thought it was a very good conversation, and I enjoyed that. And as a matter of fact, I would still the invite onto this show is still extended your way if you ever want to pop on and share 20 minutes of your time or do a whole episode with us. I still have your number, but anywho, that's a great way to that quote or that sentiment from Steve is a great way to kind of wrap things up here and go into our community calendar.
Yep.
And we'll pick up probably some more on this topic. Gemma, would you like to finish up anything before we go into community calendar?
Well, I know some of the other topics, the other personality disorders on there were requests as well. So maybe we could cover some more on the other ones at some point. But yeah, I think like certainly we've covered a lot tonight. I'll drop those things, the slides and everything in the Discord, link to the video. There is also a lot of other things that I've found that might be good reads, so I can share those as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
As always, everything will be in our Discord. Hattie has thrown the link for Discord in the chat numerous times. I'm sure she'll throw it in there again for us. And then, okay, what do we got going on the rest of the evening? Well, we got Catalyst with Jim in Chicagoland coming up tonight at 11 p.m. He's driving home currently, so I'll take the reins. A warm candle, relaxing conversation, great time. There he is. Be heard. You have a story. Join us or join him tonight. I'll be there. I should be there in the chat tonight. Also, we have a Ray of Sunshine, one of our moderators, and thank you to Ray and Hattie for moderating the show for us.
Mm-hmm.
Check out him on Tuesday nights. Tuesday nights at 8 is his new season of the A Ray of Sunshine. Positive stories, positive vibes. Just an overall great show. Gemma, she has her own channel here on Twitch where she does some baking, some crafting, some art, just all kinds of great stuff.
Doing some cooking next Saturday, not this one.
Is it a cooking train again?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Curries.
So we'll get more information on that, probably in the Discord as well.
Yep.
And then, of course, we have the Beardo Weirdo show, as previously mentioned. They are hit or miss right now. I think the boys are busy. I know Wilson's got quite a schedule. But Eric has joined us as well tonight. He's in the chat, former guest on the show. Please subscribe to him. Give him some love on Monday nights. And then, of course, for all things bunny, check out Ella the Bunny Mom here on Twitch and online at mybunnyvalentine.com. Great products, great merchandise, just great cause too. She wants to, all the funds go to help her help all the bunnies in the world. She has a passion for bunny rabbits. So you can join her and Puppy Cat, her rabbit, on late nights here on Twitch. And I believe that's my cue to head on out. Thank you guys for joining us. Oh boy, I think I went a little over. It's 7:01. All right, guys, I'm gonna use this to get out of here. We'll see you guys next week, and check the Discord for more information on anything that we've talked about tonight. Goodbye now.
Bye.